So I lost my virginity at Johnny Carson's house on the basement floor. The shit like that is not supposed to happen. I mean, I was drunk. What was I supposed to do? Say no?
This is the 217 Recovery Podcast. Real stories, honest recovery. Here's your host, Corey Winfield.
Welcome to the 217 Recovery Podcast. My name is Corey Winfield, and Alex Mann is joining us on this episode. Alex wrote a book. Alex, what was that like writing a book with your background?
The stigma sucks, and I say it in the beginning of my book. Like, in order for people to start to accept the stigma, they have to understand what it's like to suffer first. So that was the main thing that I did. I'm not an author, man. Like, I work in finance. Okay, I'm just a guy who's been clean a little over 10 years. 2023 was so slow with work, with all the inflation and interest rates and everything that, it was terrible. So I started looking for something to do for like extra money towards the end of the year. And I thought, oh, you know what? Maybe I could speak at high schools to seniors and warn them what's ahead in college. And then I thought, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll talk to some ghostwriters. How do I tell my story? A ghostwriter would be like, tell me about your life. And I didn't know where to start. And then why would they let me speak at high schools? Who the hell am I? So I sat down one day in like the beginning of December 2023 to just start like a PowerPoint presentation and put down notes and stuff that maybe I could send to a school. I don't know, man. I was just trying to do anything. It was desperation. I just sat down, man, and I just started writing. I've never written anything in my entire life. Nothing. In college, a 7-page paper or something. Like a couple years later, 2.5 years later, the book popped out. At first it was out of desperation. Then it became therapy for me to write. Like writing my own story was incredible. And especially when you go over it over and over and over and over again, you really start to understand more about how you felt and why you were doing the things that you were doing, why I was doing the things I was doing, and so on and so forth. So, the book came out like a month ago, and I'm just trying to, get it out there. I know it'll save lives because, I went through so much and I overcame it, and so many different addictions and issues and whatever.
Yeah, and I'm here with Alex Mann is joining us on the podcast. His book, memoir. I did it all to myself, and God's touch saved me. That's what we're talking about here today. I have a question because you're talking about writing the book. I wrote a movie, a screenplay.
Really?
And and it has a lot to do with some of the struggles that people have with getting to treatment. And that's where I started, was like, you know what? If the people don't want to listen, I'll let them watch it, And so I started writing this movie, and it's a screenplay, and it has like certain things that happen to me, certain things I've seen happen to other people, but a lot of the stuff it's real,
right?
But when I was in that writing it, it was hard to get in those emotions, like not hard to, but oh my God, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard to deal with.
Writing it down, man.
And I was feeling it. I felt what it felt like to puke all over and dry heave. And I remembered the alcohol and I just remembered the feeling of.
I had a tear in my esophagus.
Oh,
so a terrible one. So I woke up because, just like you, dry heaving every morning. It was automatic. It was routine. I popped out of bed because I was nauseous around 7 a.m. I didn't have anything to throw up, so it was just freaking bile. Okay, and then I would dry heave so aggressively, and my nose was clogged. I'd almost pass out from no oxygen. And it wouldn't stop, and I did it for probably a year or so every morning before that happened. I had to tear my esophagus, man. I get up one morning with my stomach on fire, and I thought I was just going to go and puke, whatever, which was routine. And I leaned over, man, and I threw up blood, and not a little. You pounded a beer and threw it up, a lot came up. And I passed out on the bathroom floor. I woke up. My mouth was gross. I tried to walk into the kitchen and grab a glass to get some water. I woke up on the kitchen floor with glass broken. My arm was all cut up from the glass. Then I crawled back into the bathroom and I threw up blood again. And it was a lot. I passed out again. And then I woke up and I couldn't stand up or I'd faint. So I kind of crawled to my bed. And I was so sick in the head that I didn't think it was from drinking. I thought I had food poisoning. Called my aunt, who owns a restaurant, and asked her if I had food poisoning. And she's like, "Are you fucking crazy? What's your address?" And she called 911, which saved my life. I get to the hospital, and I couldn't speak, so I couldn't tell them how bad it was. And the nurse had one of those devices in my mouth that you have at the dentist that sucks up all your spit because I had so much blood. And poor nurse, man, I puked a lot of blood all over her. They rushed me in and they stapled the wound shut. Another half hour, I'm dead. But when we talk about this stuff, people don't understand that it happens a lot. People just don't want to admit it.
And alcohol, well, you just weren't drinking responsibly.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's a good one. But speaking of, because you had another death experience, right? You had 2 of them.
Yeah, I was shaking so bad in the morning that I couldn't lift a shot glass off the bar. I couldn't pick up a beer, a beer bottle would chip my teeth. So I had to order double vodkas in a rocks glass with some OJ or whatever, and lean over the bar and drink them through a straw. So I'd have to drink maybe 6, 7 drinks before I was able to stop shaking every morning. And then it got to the point where I was shaking so bad, I couldn't even get the key in the doorknob of my lock, the lock of my doorknob, to lock my apartment. I had to go down the street every morning to the shop, like a bodega, like a little liquor store or whatever, but they started selling liquor at 7 a.m. So I would get a whole bottle, kettle, and I would drink the entire thing in 3 hours from 7:30 to 10:30. And I'd have to start with drinking through a straw in my own apartment because I was spilling the bottle of vodka on the side of the glass and on top of the counter and everything because I was shaking so bad still. And then I would go bar hopping. Because I was able to work from my phone. I was doing finance stuff. So, and then my business partner, he used to bring his laptop in the afternoon to the bar and we would work from the bar. It was just drinking nonstop all day, hard liquor from 7:30 in the morning until when I'd nap in the afternoon and eat maybe a half a sandwich from 3 to 4:30. Then I'd get up and I'd go and meet other friends at happy hour. This was when I was living in San Diego and I was real bad. And then eventually I had a terrible, terrible seizure on the floor of my buddy's bar. That was really bad. Thank God it didn't, do more because it was a terrible one. That's just 2 of my near-death experiences. Those are the 2 worst. I have so many more where I could have just drank myself to death or overdosed or on drugs and booze and whatever. It's so hard living that lifestyle. And I look back and I don't know how I did it. I was so sick all day, every day. And drinking wasn't fun anymore. I didn't drink to have fun. I drank because I needed medicine. And it was just different stages of sickness throughout the day.
And there was other drugs in there too. Obviously, for me anyway, there was alcohol, and then that led me to cocaine, heroin, meth. I mean, every other drug I tried, acid, shrooms. I was drunk already, Yeah. So, but we don't ever blame alcohol for that one. But I'll blame it right now because not saying that alcohol did that, but alcohol will, obviously, we know this.
Makes it a lot easier.
What it does to your judgment, we know it's bad. We know it's poison. That's what it is. Let's call a spade a spade here. It's poison, and it makes you feel funny, and some people enjoy that. I enjoyed it. It calmed my brain down. This is something they didn't tell me about the ADHD because they never told me I had ADHD. But with me wanting to silence my brain, I would even call it a radio brain. I'm like, I just built for radio. I got to shut my radio brain off. That's what I would call it. I got to drink some to shut my brain off. How nobody caught that, I don't know.
Exactly what you're saying.
That's
my
why
mind doesn't shut off, and it's anxiety. That's what you're feeling. It's terrible anxiety.
Yeah, it's I just want to stop thinking. I would go to a store and I would walk through the store and think, how can I tell a story about me going to the store on the radio tomorrow that's going to be funny? And I'm always searching. I'm always scanning, and maybe that radio job kind of led me to always think that way. When it was hiding the ADHD fact of it, but learning that
it's possible. It could have been an outlet for it too. You know? Yeah. I wasn't really into downers. I was into cocaine, man, heavy, especially in college and right after college. In college, I had friends who were bringing, kilos in. So, there was just always coke available. It was so freaking crazy and sick. Just 5 years of just nonstop party. And it was because of the cocaine, because, nobody stopped partying. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, man. Remember that movie, Dazed and Confused?
Oh yeah, we watched that all the time, high school.
Yeah, the seniors, my freshman year, actually did the paddle thing. Yeah, they were grabbing freshmen, kidnapping them, paddling the shit out of them. Most of my friends got it. They almost got kicked out of school, but ended up actually pulling it off. Which was awesome that they did it. But that was pretty funny. But, you're allowed in because we had older siblings, most of us. So, you're allowed into keg parties freshman year. But our friend's father, a guy who's a year younger than us, owned a market in town, and he needed people to work nights and weekends. So he hired just a bunch of his son's friends that he knows to work nights after school and weekends. Now, these other guys at this market, you don't make much money working at the market. So these scumbags had no problem buying us beer and selling us weed and introducing us to bookies and stuff when we were 14.
Oh, wow.
And from like 14 to 16, anything we wanted, we just went to those guys. And they had, parties with pimps and hookers, and they let 15-year-olds at their party. It was insane, to be exposed to that shit at 15 years old. I lost my virginity to a Puerto Rican prostitute named Mary Lou. And the guy's house that we were at, one of the guys in the market, his real name was Johnny Carson. So I lost my virginity at Johnny Carson's house on the basement floor. The shit like that is not supposed to happen. I mean, I was drunk. What was I supposed to do? Say no? So we were exposed to that, and we had no problem ever getting booze or drugs or anything we wanted from these guys, starting at 14.
So you were learning then the power of money, because if you had money, you could get it then pretty much, right?
Right.
Would you feel like powerful? Like, I mean, kind of like you were kind of a big deal then. I mean, people, if they needed something, they could come to you and you can kind of get that done, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't even about that. I mean, it was mostly our other buddies who worked there who had to go to them if we wanted something. But then you get to know them after 6 months or a year or whatever, and then you just call them, man. If you needed weed, they'd come get it for you. But I wasn't selling weed. I started buying kegs once I was a little bit older, when I was like 16 and I had an ID for parties, and I sold, $5 cups. So that was my first taste of like illegal money, fast money. And then, obviously when the gambling started at 14, by the time I was like 16 or 17, I was already getting in trouble with dangerous gangster bookies. And later in life, man, when I got out of college and I was living in New Jersey, that's a whole different story. Getting into that.
You got to tell a little bit of this though, at least, because you sent me a text message. You said you lost $200,000 that you didn't have.
Yeah, that was after school. So what happened when I was living in New Jersey after college, was just doing incredible amounts of coke and drinking 7 days a week, like blackout drunk, like I'm still in college.
Definitely not responsibly.
Right, exactly. And then one of the guys that I worked with, I worked at a mortgage company. Besides doing the mortgage business, he was a degenerate gambler, and he controlled gamblers' accounts, did collections for the mob in Staten Island and Brooklyn. And I had a friend in college. I was a bookie in college. I took bets from this one dude who was like a year or two younger than me. And my last year there, his grandfather died, and he inherited like a coal mining fortune. We went to West Virginia University. Next thing you know, the dude's got like a fucking Escalade and a Mercedes. It's like, where's this kid getting all this fucking money from, And, bets went up from like, $100 a game to $500 a game or whatever, So he started betting more. He was throwing money around. And then I found out what happened. That was like 2003 into 2004. Fast forward the summer of 2006. I'm living in Hoboken, New Jersey, and he just moved to Manhattan. And it's like the end of the summer. So he called me. He's like, hey, man, we got to hang out. I just moved here. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'd love to see you. Let's party, whatever. So, he's like, also, I'm going to need a bookie. So I'm like, all right, no problem. So I was in the mortgage business then in 2006. So I had enough money. I figured I would just take his bets and keep it friendly and fun. But he told me he wanted to bet thousands and thousands of dollars a game, and I couldn't handle that. So I called my buddy that I worked with, and I said, hey, man, can you introduce me to some of those like serious mob guys that give street credit, for this guy to bet with? And I would just get like 25% of when he loses. And it's not my money, so there's no downside, I thought, of course. You can only get this kind of street credit if you know heavy hitters directly. So I met this guy because obviously he trusted my buddy. I met this guy for some drinks. The guy was gigantic, like ex-bodybuilder for sure, like 6'3", 280. I mean, all muscle. It was ridiculous. He was huge. Nice guy. We're just hanging out. We're talking. I tell him about my friend, and he gives a $5,000 per game limit and $50,000 a week limit for how much you can lose. Okay. So now I have $50,000 a week at my disposal in street cred. And this is just where it starts. All right. We were going nuts, betting like crazy. We were winning. I was way up in the beginning of the year, man. I was just catching like these crazy parlay bets and reverses. And, I don't remember. I won a lot of money. Like, I'm collecting 80,000, 50,000. I'm meeting these guys. They're giving me medium brown bags, Bloomingdale's medium brown bags full of cash. And then he wanted to bet more than 5,000 a game. So I went to the guy, I call him in the book, Vito. I said, Vito, listen, he wants to bet more. Vito's like, no, man, I'm leaving this as is. This is working just fine as it is. So I had to go to friends of mine that I knew that, no other gangsters that run big books. So All right. Next thing you know, man, it's like, a month later, there's 3 different outfits with huge limits. Okay. It's like 310,000 a week between all of the outlets, all these different groups of gangsters that we could lose between 4 of us. 310,000 a week. Okay. For these people, they'll fucking kill you if you don't have the money. So all the drinking, everything I was on, I wasn't screwing with one of them. I was only able to have access to 2, which was still like 110,000 a week that I had personally for my limits. So over like Thanksgiving is when everything started going downhill, like the end of November. And then I lost $100,000 that I had to pay the guy. I lost more money. Then I lost like 190,000, which I had discounts on. So I was down like 135,000 all in, and I didn't have the money. All right. Now I can't tell them that it's me, because then I'm ripping them off with the discounts, and I'm in big trouble if they catch me doing that. I didn't have the money. I'm a fucking dead man. I ended up borrowing money and this and that. And, if you want to read the book, it'll go into much more detail of this. I ended up moving to California. I left one day, man. I just moved to San Diego. And the other guy who owed them $100,000, they were all over me to get money from him, but he lost his money in Vegas. And when I got to San Diego on a Sunday, that Wednesday, there was a huge mob bust at the end of March 2007 in New York and New Jersey. And all the guys that I was involved with that were owed and everything like that, they got busted, went to prison.
Oh, geez.
And the debt went away. Just like that. God can happen fast. Huh?
Oh, but yeah, was it the excitement?
That's a short end of it, man. If you read the book, you'll read it all in more detail.
Are you going to turn it into an audiobook at all?
Eventually. Friends of mine who were reading it, that are also, recovery. And one of my buddies is a Marine. He was texting me like crazy. He's got PTSD and he hasn't drank in 7 years, but he's like, dude, your book is moving me, man. It's been a really good response from people who are in the program, That's the
thing, man. All of our stories are so similar. Like when you're talking about the knocking your teeth out, I remember, man, grabbing the glass, grabbed 2 hands to go, please don't knock my teeth out. But I had to get it in me somehow, I remember that. Everybody does, not everybody, but the people that have our misfortune of not drinking responsibly, we have that happen. We know those stories. And when we go to AA meetings, I don't work the steps, but those are my people. I like going to those meetings. I like hearing those stories from those people, that's the thing that kind of helps people connect with each other.
I was an atheist, and, finding God and spirit and the universe, that all definitely helped saving me, because I don't worry as much about the future when you have honest faith. So that helps a lot with anxiety, even though sometimes I can't take it. I take so much medication, it's ridiculous, but it's far worse for me to drink than to take prescription drugs. It's the lesser of 2 evils for sure. So, I do that, and I've been on them for a while, and at least they even me out.
Yeah. Probably I would say with your book, and I can't wait to read it, but what it kind of probably tells too is what worked for you. And what I tell people is to find purpose, because that's what worked for me. There's people that run sober livings and their big thing is AA, and they're like, you got to go to AA. And my thing is like, start a podcast, man, start cooking. Whatever can help you is what you should do. You want to play with Tonka trucks? Play with Tonka trucks. Did it help you not use or do drugs? Cool. Did it bring you closer to other people? Cool.
When you have a sober house, or even people at rehab, or even in meetings, okay, for people who are just starting out, they have to understand how difficult this is going to be. The odds are way stacked against them. But the good news is everybody loves an underdog, and they have a choice. They can do this if they really, really, really want to. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be years of awful emotions and feelings and fighting against yourself like crazy every day when something goes wrong and you need a drink. But the odds are stacked against you, so you have to really pay attention to what you're doing every single hour of the day.
Very few people hit the ground running and just get it. It's hard.
Statistics that are like, fairly close, let's say. And I read in different medical journals and heard over, my rehab trips and everything, so on and so forth. It's something like in the first 90 days, like 85% of people relapse, which means that after 30-day rehab, people over the next 60 days have like an 85% chance of relapsing. It's how it is. The people that I kept in touch with at rehab, I don't know if I know one of them who stayed sober.
At 217 recovery support starts with something pretty simple. Real people showing up for real people. We're excited to welcome recovery specialists Renee Hunt, Tim Glucky, Matthew Rybecki, and Simon Harris to the 217 Recovery Team. And to welcome back Justin Burke. They join a team of people using lived experience to help others navigate treatment, recovery, and whatever comes next. Because sometimes you know exactly what you need, and sometimes you just need somebody to help you figure out the next step. Recovery coaching through 217 Recovery is free. If you're looking for support, visit 217recovery.com and fill out the short form or call 231-421-1903. 217 Recovery. Questions, community, education, peers. And now, back to the 217 Recovery Podcast.
Like, I don't know.
If I see a good beer commercial, even now, I still get some cravings once in a while. I mean, I understand that it's my disease talking to me, and I see a good beer commercial, and there's like ice cold beer on the bar or something. It happens for 3 to 5 seconds, but I'm like, oh man, well, I love that. You know?
It doesn't.
And I realize that I can't, and then I'm fine.
You and I know that the hard way. My son, when he sees one in 10 years, he doesn't know that. He thinks fun. He heard his dad's stories, but he's different, right? That's what we thought. Did you not think that? Oh, I'll just quit when I just want to. No, but see, they don't show that in the commercial. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they need to be held accountable. If they're going to be putting this product out there on the shelves that my son can get and buy, they need to tell him about it and that it's poison and that it does hurt you. That one drink, yes, does hurt you. Like, they'll tell you there's no safe amount of alcohol to use. Like, not even one drink, they say, is not safe because it's poison. Like, it affects your brain. It affects your organs.
I mean, one drink can lead to the destruction of your whole life.
Yeah. How many people have had one drink and did something really stupid? A lot. Like, just be real with it, you know? And when people do need help, get them there. Pay for it. Don't tell them, oh, you can't get there. It's too much. Well, who's your insurance? Don't make them jump through all these hoops, you know? And if they need to figure it out, they need to figure it out. I'll be there to help them.
Yeah. And what sucks too is, you know, I went to rehab 3 times and 2 of them were just a fucking joke. There's just so many scams. I went to one that was more expensive, but it was fantastic. I wanted to stay another 30 days at the end of the month, but I didn't have the money. That's the bad part too, is people and families and society. It's a huge misconception. They think if there's somebody they know or a loved one is going to rehab, they're going to walk out cured. Bullshit. Okay. So, you know, it all depends on the kind of rehabs that they go to also. If it's a terrible rehab, it's not going to do any good for you.
Or you can go to the best rehab and have the wrong attitude and not learn anything. You know, so it's a whole process of it. I just think we could do more for people. And you're down there in Florida where, I mean, there was some cases of I think there was a movie made about the body snatcher, not body snatchers. It might have been called that.
I saw that movie, Body Brokers.
Yeah.
I heard stories because I lived in the halfway house because I just needed to get sober and I didn't trust myself. And then I heard stories from people and I became friends with the owner and, you know, the guys who ran the office. And they told me stories of the halfway houses where they're actually selling heroin to the people who live there, but only if they have insurance, they let them in. So this way they know that they can go to their friends' rehab centers. So they send them there, the insurance covers it, and they get paid, and then they kick them back cash. It was going on like crazy down here.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's our people, and we're so vulnerable, and I don't know, man. That's dirty. That's really, really dirty.
Yeah.
And especially I don't know how many people ran across them that were really going for the first time. And like you had said, family members and society think like, hey, they're going to rehab, then they'll get out, they'll be good, and they won't drink again. That's not the way you look at it. If you look at it like if you're big overweight and you're going to Weight Watchers, you go to Weight Watchers, you come home, you lose 100 pounds.
Right.
Even if you're there for a month, you're going to lose 100 pounds. No, it's the same thing. So if you can kind of look at it like
that's exactly right.
And when I was attacking alcohol earlier, which it sounded like I was attacking alcohol, but I wasn't. But it's the same thing, like with food, you know, like you can be addicted to food. You can be addicted to sex. You can be addicted to church, working out, podcasts, making movies. You can be addicted to writing. You can be addicted to all kinds of things, sex, you know, but alcohol was what my brain, what I chose because that was the effect I wanted. I wasn't doing it every night because I wanted to get blasted. I was trying to just shut my brain down. But how alcohol works was not on the label. It was just drink responsibly. And I was at home. I was doing what I needed to do responsibly, but it didn't say on the label that you're going to need 3 more of these in a week. You know, they didn't say like, hey, this half pint's not going to do it. You're going to need a pint. You're going to need a pint. You're going to be buying
You're going to build a tolerance.
Yeah, and not just because you only buy alcohol once a month. No, that's what you're drinking now every day or two. It doesn't say that on the bottle. It didn't tell me how tolerance affected it and how, and it, especially early on, you probably the same thing because you're around the same age as me. But when we could drink a whole 12-pack by ourselves, even a 6-pack by ourselves, like that was a big deal. Like that was bragging rights back then.
Yeah, that's where we started. I started, like when in high school, that's what we would get, a 6 each, and then we would get 9 each because we'd split, and then it went to 12 each, and then we're getting kegs, and it just progresses, man.
Yeah.
It's just how it works.
Yeah, it was a badge of honor. And then it flips all of a sudden, oh, he's an alcoholic. Wait, what? But just a minute ago, you were like, hey, you can drink a whole 18-pack by yourself, and now you're raising your eyebrow at me? Like, what happened there? I'm still the same guy. Let's play cards. Let's go. But, yeah, it's crazy, though. It really is. But taking a step back and to look at it and just like look at it outside of this person did something and that's making them bad because they knew it was going to make them bad. Nobody did the drug because they thought it was going to ruin our lives. When you took your first...
Of course, you're in denial. Even when it is ruining your life, you don't realize it. You're in denial.
You're a cool guy, man, and you seem like a cool dude. And some of that...
You too, man.
Some of that pleasure, stuff that we pass along to those others that 99 out of 100 of them might think what we're saying is stupid, but it's that one. If that person can connect and relate.
It's possible to get better, and you don't know you're sick yet.
Well, Alex, thanks for chatting with me today, man. I really appreciate it.
Got it, dude. Anytime. Let's keep in touch.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Listen to over 900 episodes on the 217 Recovery app that's free in your app store or online at 217recovery.com.